Hi there, I'm Laura from 5 out of 4 Patterns, and welcome to the tutorial for our free DIY laptop case. Now you can see I have a completed one here. It's pretty amazing. You can look on the inside, you can see that there are pockets. There's a little pocket on the inside, there's an outer pocket, and there are even little pockets on the inside of the outer pocket. So if you look, we have this what's called a large exterior pocket here. Inside you have a place to put all your goodies, but also right here you've got a little pencil where you can place all your pencils and not lose them, a little pencil pocket, and then you have an additional pocket for your mouse or your charger or whatever little tidbits you have. Additionally, on the inside you will see that there's another pocket, again for your mouse or whatever supplies that you might need. So this is a really great, fun, easy make. Push my corners out a little bit more. I really enjoyed it. The handles are easy. Everything about this is not hard. You just have to take your time. And as you can see, it even has a nice zipper across the top. This will fit all of your goodies. This makes a great gift. It's great for personal use as well. I love this. I use it all of the time. So, are you ready to get started? I know that I am, so let's move this along. Now, I've got my tutorial with me, and if you open to the first page, you have your description page as usual, but you also have on the following page, page 3, your cut chart. Page 4 also has a cut chart. Now, you can go as simple or as complex as you'd like on this pattern. You can do just a case. Just the case, doesn't have to have any pockets, doesn't have to have any handles, nothing. Or you could do just the case with pocket or with handles. Great. Or just the case with pockets. Some pockets, not all of the pockets, just one pocket, whatever. It's up to you. But for every single laptop case that you make, you are going to need the cut chart one, without a doubt. All right? Plus your zipper. Make sure you got your zipper. Now, if you flip to page 4, you have cut chart 2, and that has all the additional options from the handles to the large exterior pocket to the mouse pocket to the pencil organizer pocket to the interior small pocket. I mean, it's all there and it's all spelled out for you as to what to cut. So let's look at what I've cut. Now you can see all of my pattern pieces are labeled with a little sticky note. Sometimes I just use a piece of paper and I straight pin it to it because when you're making a bag, there are a lot of little pieces that are kind of all over the place, and it makes it easier for me if I pin some sort of label so I know what I'm looking at and I can find things quickly. So you'll see that I'll have a sticky note on everything. I mean, you can see them over here, like I've got a ton of them. All right, so first you're going to cut out your main. You have 2 mains, which are 16.5 by 12.5. And you have 2 linings that are 16.5 by 12.5. Then you have, this is Pellon Flex Foam. This is what I've used, and it's a 1/2 inch smaller all the way around, so it's 16 by 12. And this only goes on the main, so you only need 2 of these. For the lining, you have a couple different options. You can use SF101, which is a great midweight stabilizer interfacing for your lining, or you can do without, depending on the main interfacing you're using for your main lining, or for your main fabric, excuse me, your main panel. Now, if you're not using Flex Foam, I suggest you interface this. Since I am using Flex Foam and I'm totally out of SF101, figured that out as soon as I started the video, I'm not going to interface my lining. That's up to you. That is the only real optional interfacing part, in my opinion. Everything else really needs to have interfacing, and we'll talk a little bit more about that after we talk through the pieces. So I've got 2 main, 2 lining, 2 Flex Foam. All right, then we're back to, or up to, our optional features. This is the large exterior pocket. It is 16.5 by 10.5. I have 1 main and 1 lining. These can be coordinating fabrics or they can be the same fabric. It's totally up to you. And I have 2 pieces of interfacing, okay? Next I have, I'm trying to stay in order, my mouse pocket. Okay, the mouse pocket, and the interior pocket are exactly the same. Exactly the same. So you have a main, you have a lining, and you have the coordinating what is the stuff, interfacing to go with. Notice that the main is shorter than the lining. All right, that's supposed to be like that. So you have a main, a lining, and then interfacing for both main and lining. That's the mouse pocket and the interior pocket. For the pencil organizer, we have, very similar to the other small pockets, you have a main and a lining. You also have interfacing for both of those, okay? And you'll notice that for your main is shorter than your lining. It's supposed to be that way, don't freak out. Set that to the side. And lastly, I think this is it, we have our handles. I have, you could do this however, use whatever fabric you want. I decided to use the main because I didn't have enough of the other fabrics to go with. I really wanted to use this beautiful fabric for the handles, but I didn't have enough. So I have 2 handles. You can do, I mean, you don't have to do that. They don't have to be the same fabric. You can do one of these, one of those, whatever you've got, whatever you want to use. You have our handles. They are 14 inches by 5 inches, and we have interfacing for both of those. And I see that I did not, whoopsies, throwing scissors around. Okay, make sure I'm good to go there. All right, now our handles are 2 handles, 2 interfacings. Let's just talk about how important interfacing is. Let's just start there. All right, interfacing is important. Inevitably, when I design a pattern or do a tutorial for a pattern that requires interfacing, someone will always ask me, do I need interfacing? Well, and I always say, no, I mean, or do I have to put in interfacing? And I always say, well, no, I guess you don't have to, but it's not going to look the way the pattern is intended. This is exactly the same here as well. So you have a couple different types of interfacing that is recommended for this pattern. For the main exterior, we have recommended Pellon Flex Foam. This is Pellon Flex Foam. It is foam, like it's very foamy and very, you can see it stands up. Let me do this. And it keeps its shape. It also, for the sake of a laptop case, it adds protection to your laptop or your device, whatever you're putting in it. Now, if I look at my laptop case, you can really see it very easily holds its shape. Even when I hold it up, I mean, it just holds its shape. You know, it does not slump down. It's very squishy, very protective. It's fantastic. I love it. All right, so that is Flex Foam. It's highly recommended for this pattern. However, if you do not have Flex Foam and you have fusible fleece, you could try fusible fleece as well. It won't be as sturdy as this, but it will work. You can also try, and there are different kinds of this, you can also try quilt batting. This is the quilt batting that I have. I know there's different types and different thicknesses and what have you, and you can use this as well. I might, if I were to use this, I would double this particular one. I would probably double it up to give it some really, you know, because you want your device to be safe, your electronics to be safe. So you can use quilt batting if that's what you have. What that will do, just so you understand, it won't, quilt batting, fusible fleece will not hold its shape as well as Flex Foam. So you can't expect it to look exactly like mine if we're not using the same kind of guts, if that makes sense, okay? So Flex Foam is my favorite. I love it so much. There are different kinds you can get. You can even go a little bit cheaper and get, I think Joann Fabrics has something called Headliner. It's not fusible, but I have used it, and it's not bad either. It's not as good as this stuff. They have fusible and non-fusible versions of this Flex Foam. This is the fusible. It's, like I said, it's fabulous. So let's talk about our other interfacings. Now, in the pattern, we recommend, we do not give you any other options other than SF101. This is SF101. It's really commonly used in bags. This is a great interfacing. If you don't have SF101, you can use another light to medium weight interfacing. It will work. May not be to the exact, firmness of this, but that's okay. It will work. This is all I have left of my SF101, and as you can tell, it is not enough. So I'm putting this aside to use for a key fob or two, and what I ended up using was my least favorite, interfacing, and this is like a craft bond. It's I think it's 808, Pellon 808, I'm sorry, 809, it's Decor Bond. And you could see it's 2 layers here. It's pretty, it's much heavier than the SF101. It will work. I just don't like working with it. And it does work really well for bags and what have you. And a lot of people do use it. I just hate it. That's really what it comes down to. But because it's what I have, and I have a ton of it, it's what we're using today, and it will work. It'll work just fine. So the first thing we're gonna do before we move on to any type of pinning or sewing is we're going to adhere all of our interfacings to our pattern pieces. Now I'm gonna start with the main panels here, because they, you got to think about those a little bit more. Let me move this to the side. Okay. So because your flex foam is a 1/2 inch smaller, you're going to center that on your main piece. Okay. So you're going to find the rough side. The rough side has the glue on it, and you're going to kind of work it in there. Now if you see, as you can see, I did not cut very well. I'm going to trim it up a little bit more because I need this to be a little bit smaller than the main fabric. And the reason for that is that it reduces a lot of bulk in your seam, and that's really important. That's something we really want to see or don't want to see, is a lot of bulk in the seam. It makes it difficult to sew, it makes it difficult to turn, and it sometimes can make the corners not look as crisp as you'd like them. So here's what it should look like. All right, you can see there that I have a little space on either side. Now, the sticky or the rough side is down. Now I'm going to take the whole thing, the fabric and the flex foam, and I'm going to turn it over. Okay, now it's time. Give it a little feel, make sure you've got it centered properly still after you flipped it. I feel like it is. All right. Time to adhere. So for the SF101, the glue side is super rough. For the 808, it's not rough, it's more shiny and smooth than the non-glue side.